From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of ParksCenter. Or I guess I should say ahoy, given this is Talk Like a Pirate Day. Joining me on tonight's show, we have Jill.
Arr.
Matthew.
Drink up me hearties, yo-ho.
And Tyler.
Siva Kerr. Oh, that didn't work.
Oh, I give you an A for effort, though. That was pretty good. All right, kicking off tonight's show with a bit of a bang, or I guess a lack of a bang. Illuminations, Reflections of Earth has had its final, well, I guess not the final, we don't know the final date yet, but it has been announced that it is ending and a replacement is coming in the second half of 2019. So you've got, it looks like about a year left of Illuminations at this point. It's been going for nearly 20 years at this point, and a lot of people have some very fond memories of this show. I'm willing to bet that we can go on for a while about the show if we let ourselves, but let's try and keep it to 4 minutes.
Illumination appreciation.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll chime in on that. It is a fantastic show. Probably one of the last of the the most recent edition that still stays true to the ideals that Epcot started out with.
Which is why it has to go.
Yeah. That's my concern, is that as much as I think it's time for a new show, I'm worried, given the direction that the new attractions seem to be going. I'm almost afraid to see what's going to happen.
My thing here is, what made them announce this? They never give us notice like this. So I feel like if they had been able to keep this secret longer, they would have. So what's happening that they felt like they had to get out in front of it to kind of be the ones to come out and say this is happening? Like, we've known this is happening for quite some time, and we've talked all the speculation of what's coming next and all of that, but we didn't. I think a lot of people were surprised that Disney actually came out and said this now and said, oh, you've got a year to go see Illumination. So is something happening? Are they going to need to start testing drones and people are going to see stuff that it's going to, that they want to put something in front of? Is it because they want to get people, they want to give people something to come to the park for next summer, when a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, I'm just going to wait until Star Wars opens? Like, I'm curious what the motivation was here to make this announcement when they did.
Well, we know the main reason Disney does anything, right?
Because money.
It could just be that they want to drive more traffic to that park. It makes sense if they're like, we're getting rid of this thing, but we're giving you plenty of time now, unlike what we've done in the past. Where
Exactly.
We're giving you enough time to come and see the show one last time. Or they're probably just going to start working on stuff, deconstructing stuff if possible.
Mm. That seems like the more likely idea.
They said there's pretty much not going to be much downtime between when Illuminations ends and when the new show starts. So I don't know. To me, that says they're not going to need to take a lot of what makes Illuminations work down. Maybe that's the lighting on the pavilions, the lasers, whatever. But if they can keep Illuminations running while they're building this new show, then they must not be touching at least some of that stuff.
But that might be the reason why that they're announcing this now, is because they're going to need to start doing construction sometime in the next year to add stuff onto World Showcase. And they just want to be upfront about, okay, no, we're not tearing down the entirety of World Showcase. We're redoing Illuminations. This is why you're seeing construction. We really can't hide it.
Fair enough.
That seems to me like the most logical answer. I mean,
either that or what Tyler said. I really like the idea of Disney's doing this to try and drive attendance to a park that's not going to see a lot of it until after Guardians opens. Is this kind of a bait to get more people into a park that's not seeing that much attention?
But we're all going to get the T-shirts, right?
gosh. Moving from a show that we love closing to a show that I don't think many people love closing. Move It, Shake It, Dance It, Play It, Street Party. Oh my gosh, this thing is a mouthful. Is ending in December. With some new dance party coming in 2019. Oh great, why? Why do we need to have another dance? Could we just like take this out and leave it out and put like a normal parade in? Something less obnoxious?
I mean, parades snarl up traffic. That's one of those unfortunate things. The parade is fantastic, but if you're trying to run from Adventureland to Fantasyland, it can be a pain. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, short of, I would love to see a parade, but I mean, we have, we at least have daytime parades still, but short of getting, a awesome nighttime parade, pipe dream, I like street parties, not because I attend street parties, but because other people attend street parties, and then that means there's less congestion at other places. So I have like completely neutral feelings about Move It, Shake It ending because I've never seen it. I don't know, but I hope whatever they put in its place brings in even more people than Move It, Shake It did. So there's even more people that are out of the lines of attraction, so I can get on the ride a couple minutes quicker.
Yeah, I was really surprised with how divided the reaction was. I wrote the original article reporting that the information that it was closing. I was very surprised to see how like split down the middle were the people who were really sad it was going and the people who could not be happier. So it's one of those things where it's either you love it or you hate it.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's the Vegemite of entertainment.
I'm right there with Joe. I've never watched it, and it's not for me either. Like, I don't have kids. I'm probably not going to bring kids and be like, let's spend 40 minutes watching this thing. But it does get people off of attractions, which is better for me. I don't know. It's a very selfish thing to say. But
I'm right there with you, Tyler.
Yeah, exactly. It does add that kind of kinetic energy to the parks that that works really well by bringing people to those areas where the dance party is. So I think it's good for the parks in general to have that kind of entertainment.
Yeah, and I think it's a nice way for people to get up close to characters without having to wait in line for meet and greets. So for kids, again, that's really great. You get to get a little bit closer than you might in a parade to some of your characters, but you're not standing in line for 45 minutes waiting to meet Goofy.
And without feeling any of the pressure to really interact with the characters. Like if you're in like a parade thing like that, like you just kind of wave hi, like that's like they're doing a bit. You don't stop them from doing the bit. All right, moving on to our next topic for the night. Streetmosphere is getting cutbacks as well. Like we're just like ripping everything out. Like apparently at this point. So a bunch of the longtime citizens of Hollywood are being cut back at this point. We do have specifics. Dorman Nesbin, Paige Turner, Dara Vamp, and Oscar Prime Brody. Those roles are being cut at this point, which honestly, I don't do Streetmosphere that much, but it's always something that I've kind of walked past and been like, yeah, this is Disney. That's exactly the kind of just random acts of entertainment that I would expect in a Disney park. And to see that getting called back is really kind of sad to me.
Especially in studios. Like there are two places where Streetmosphere is like what makes Streetmosphere in my mind and in my memories is Main Street and the citizens of Hollywood. They're so good and they make so much of what those particular sections of the parks are to me, that having all of these characters gone is going to make Hollywood a very different place. But at the same time, I think that's what's happening in studios in general. They're pulling away from that whole Hollywood and studios vibe, and it's turning more into immersing you within the actual movie itself. So I feel like this is just the direction that studios has been going, as much as it sucks. I really hope that they put the actors to work in other places in the parks, because they're so talented and they're so good at interacting with guests, and they make so much of, they make the trip for a lot of people. So I hope they still are doing that, just in other places.
You go.
Yeah, it feels like they're kind of taking the studios out of Hollywood studios.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to agree. Citizens of Hollywood was never necessarily something I sought out when I was at Hollywood Studios, but if I was there and I wasn't in a rush to do something, I'd stop and watch for a couple of minutes. And it's one of those things that sort of sets Disney apart from everywhere else. I do hope these people find work elsewhere soon. It seems that they're going to go immersive on Galaxy's Edge. I would hope that perhaps they could find a way to incorporate the performers into that experience.
Right.
They're obviously skilled they're obviously skilled and they have a lot of experience. I don't know.
I don't think Streetmosphere as a whole is going away. I mean, we've got stuff in Pandora. They added the suit this year. That was, basically that's Streetmosphere. We've heard all kinds of things about what they're going to be doing in Galaxy's Edge with droids, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of characters walking around to interact with. So Streetmosphere, I don't feel like this is some harbinger of doom for Streetmosphere as a whole, but at least the citizens of Hollywood, and maybe that's, the beginning of the end for that Hollywood and studios feel.
But those sort of like people-led things have always been on a decline. Like the Living with the Land, they cut out people. We lost Great Movie Ride, and even that was declined from the second sort of version of it. And you added the power suit to Pandora, but that's one person who shows up how many times a day? Only like maybe 5 or 6 or something. It's not like sort of the 10, 12 or more people you have with Streetmosphere.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so that's enough of things closing. Let's start talking about some new stuff. So Mary Poppins may or may not be getting a flat ride for Epcot's United Kingdom Pavilion. So when we say flat ride, we mean probably something that's more of a spinner ride along the lines of Dumbo the Flying Elephant or something along those lines. It could be a carousel. It could be anything like that. But we're not talking like roller coasters or massive dark rides. We're talking something that's more small and, to put it bluntly, something you'd be more likely to see at a state fair or something like that, but done nicely and not you're afraid it's going to fall apart.
The zipper.
So this is likely going to be going in the garden and bandstand area towards the back of the pavilion. We don't know that for sure, but that's really the only place that really seems to make any sense for this. So
I've walked back there.
Yeah,
I walked back there so many times and been like, why are they doing this with this space? Why is there not something else here? So I'm excited to see this. My question is, why Mary Poppins? Like, I know the movie's coming out, but in Disney animated, in the Disney animated catalog, there are a number, like at least 6 or 7 movies that take place in England. So why did they choose Mary Poppins? I mean, I know it's a classic, and I know it doesn't have an existing ride anywhere else, but I didn't know if it was the movie. I mean, it's a long-term commitment, and they have no idea how the movie's going to do.
Well, I think it's more likely to be tied to the original film than the remake.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I am happy that Mary Poppins is finally getting her attraction due. I wish it were something a little more elaborate than a flat ride.
Yeah.
And I wish it were maybe in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
But it's like, if this is the way Epcot's going, fine. At least it's a story that means something to the people of Britain, that is so ingrained in their culture. I mean, Mary Poppins literally fought Voldemort at the 2012 Olympics opening ceremony in London. So it's got to mean something. Of course, I always think of that as symbolism for no matter how good Universal gets, Disney is always going to be king.
Yeah, I do appreciate that we're talking classic IP here. I feel like so much of the IPs that we've heard new things are coming for are, kind of the newer and more Marvel sort of things. So I'm relieved to see that they're still dipping back into the old school classics for this.
I can't imagine it's because of the new movie, but I can imagine that like once that movie comes out, there's going to be a greater renewed interest in Mary Poppins, especially for kids who are going to go back and maybe watch the original movie. And I mean, a spinner, like a flat ride spinner, like doesn't exist at Epcot yet.
No.
I mean, we got one of Magic
Yeah.
Kingdom, Animal Kingdom. Yeah.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
They don't have one.
I thought they were saying, yeah, we do have one. It's called Mission Space. We don't have like a classic sort of Dumbo the Flying Elephant, which it would be nice to put that there. It would give kids sort of a quick, fun attraction to go on. I don't see a reason, or I don't see a reason for it. I don't see a problem with it. But yeah, you're right. It could be a bigger dark ride.
But segueing into our next topic.
Oh
yeah.
Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm still lost on the Mission Space being a spinner ride.
He's not wrong.
But I guess speaking of massive dark rides that might be going into to Epcot, so we've got another rumor for Epcot because we need more. India Pavilion might be coming to Epcot with this huge Jungle Book ride supposedly going to be in there along with it. So this just honestly like it feels really cool, but at the same time it feels a little not the right time. Like, I mean, Epcot's direction, like we kind of touched on this in the other story, but Epcot's direction right now has been more IP focused in the aggressive direction, like with more action based properties. And granted, Jungle Book is, I guess you could make an argument for being action based, but it feels more like classic Disney. And we've got now 2 stories in a row about classic Disney properties getting added into World Showcase. Is that the future of Epcot?
It certainly feels that way. Honestly, when I heard about the Jungle Cruise ride, it just kind of clicked to me. It's like, congratulations, Disney. You found a way for me to be uninterested in a new World Showcase pavilion. The one thing I have desperately wanted, it's been 30 years since we've got a new permanent pavilion, and you're only doing it to build up a Jungle Cruise ride. Not even based on the classic film. It's based on the live action remake.
Well, to be fair, that live action remake grossed about $1 billion worldwide, so it was by no means a flop.
No, I'm not saying it is, but it just, I don't know. It doesn't excite me the way I thought a new World Showcase pavilion would.
Oh, see, I am in the complete opposite camp. I was a little kind of like underwhelmed by the Mary Poppins thing, but I was like, okay, well, they're putting a new ride in and it is going to be a kids type ride, so that's fine. It'll give kids something to do in Epcot, which is a good thing. But then I heard this and I was like, this is what I've been wanting in World Showcase. And I actually kind of really think it kind of makes sense. Like, we've seen them putting Disney animated IPs into World Showcase. We've got Three Caballeros, we've got Frozen, we're getting Ratatouille, we're getting Mary Poppins, now we're getting Jungle Cruise. Like, maybe that's
we
what
used to
they're
have
doing.
Muppets. That was worth it just for the face.
We had a Guardians dance show.
Well,
we had Barbie.
But,
Oh my gosh, you're
like, I am totally on board with the idea of putting animated IPs in World Showcase and putting the, keeping the Marvel type stuff and all that in Future World. I don't want to say it makes sense. It's not that it makes sense. It's just, it feels good. It feels good to think that there is going to be all this like Disney animated IP stuff all around World Showcase. And it excites me that we're getting more rides. Like, we went from having kind of lackluster rides in World Showcase other than Maelstrom, and now we've got, they jazzed up Mexico. They've got, in some people's definition, Frozen has enhanced what Maelstrom was. in some people's definition. We're getting Ratatouille. Like we're getting, thank you, Matthew. I'm in that camp as well. We're getting, all of this new stuff in World Showcase that isn't just, initially we were just sort of tacking on to or expanding what we had, but now we're adding new rides. And that has been my dream for World Showcase for such a long time. It needed more rides, and now it's getting them. And I think that's awesome.
Really quick, every pavilion could have a boat ride. Every single one could have a boat ride. And every Disney classic could have a dark ride or a boat ride associated with it. So just finding ways to combine those, it makes sense.
Yes, especially when you're talking it's based on the Shanghai Pirates.
Yeah, that motion-based tech is going to be pretty cool. I highly recommend you read our full article for details on that. But moving on to something else that's being constructed, I guess technically just outside World Showcase. So the Skyliner gondolas. We have found out that they will not be air-conditioned, but will have onboard audio. So we've got enough power to tell you about all of the things that you should do and buy, but we do not have enough power to make it any sort of comfortable inside of here.
You will have no life left when you get to your destination.
Yeah. If sources are to be believed, each gondola will not be air-conditioned, but rather have some small openings around the windows to provide ventilation to guests, similar to the Disneyland monorails. Who's been on the Disneyland monorails and enjoyed the air experience in that vehicle?
I mean,
To be
I
honest-
like that you can look out into open air with no window, but outside of that, it's not comfortable.
This makes sense. I mean, we got the boats that are too slow. We have the buses that are freezing cold. It makes sense to have a thing up in the air that is just burning hot. I mean,
Let's put you in a metal cube, send you packed in with a bunch of other people, send you closer to the sun in Florida with no air conditioning.
Are we talking about Mission Space again?
Oh my gosh. Everything is Mission Space. Just
how
everything.
there are little baggies in the seats in front of Mission Space. They
No!
might need those for heat exhaustion on
Oh.
the Skyliner.
So they're getting everything but the freezing of hypersleep.
Show of hands, who's actually going to use the Skyliner when it
No.
comes up?
No.
It would depend on where I'm staying.
This to me is just one more reason not to take the Skyliner. I am terrified of heights, and I don't think I could physically handle the Skyliner. But add my fear of heights to not being able to breathe because it's so hot in there, and that is not a good combination.
As a person who wears costumes, even costumes have if you're in a sort of fursuit or a giant mascot thing, there's a tiny little fan right in the back of your neck so you could breathe while you're in those things. I mean, I'm what is the decision here? What is somebody made the ultimate decision? Should we have AC? Nah. How did that come into being? Was it a serious conversation about how much money it's going to cost?
And it's
unless costs are being overrun elsewhere.
It's not it's not a possibility. Putting air conditioning in these gondolas is technically possible. It's not like they can't do it. They're just not doing it.
Yeah, I like Tyler said, how do you not put a tiny fan in there? You can run a fan off of a 9-volt battery for 8 hours, no problem. But we can't put one fan inside of this gondola car that can apparently spiel at you. This is ridiculous.
I figured it out. It's so they could sell fans for you to take.
Oh my gosh.
On the Skyliner.
Your gondola.
So when they finally do go into the air conditioning, they can bill it as a brand new attraction.
Which, oh, by the way, they just jacked up the price on those fans a week ago.
Oh my gosh, they're turning into EA. They've got the air conditioning DLC.
Yeah.
All right, and our final story for the night, something that's a little bit happier at least. Earl of Sandwich has come back.
Yay!
Granted, it might just be for a limited time, but we'll see how limited that is. So at Downtown Disney at Disneyland Resort. So this is not the one in Florida. The one in Florida, if I'm not mistaken, is fine. It's still there, right? No one's touched that one.
I don't think so.
I was just there. Yes, it's there.
Yeah. So in Disneyland, they had to close that for the Disneyland Hotel. But the plans to build that, or the new Disneyland Hotel, I should say, the plans were put on hold after a fight between Disney and the Anaheim City Council over tax breaks. And so, kind of, I guess, as a natural consequence of the fact that they don't have a hotel there and they don't have construction going on, they're like, we may as well open the restaurants back up.
This is Disney digging its heels in and saying, we can wait. So they are prepared to go. They're prepared to go to the distance on this fight. What that means, I don't know. But I can tell you that at least they're going to try and make the best of the situation. Bring back a popular food offering. I don't know if any of the other restaurants are going to be reopening, but it seems like they're prepared to do this for the long haul. And I don't necessarily know if that's the best thing.
I'm sure the people who work there are over the moon that the restaurant is back open again after like the idea of it being closed indefinitely or never coming back.
I feel really bad for the folks who like went out and got jobs. Like they're, oh, okay, I guess this is closing. I'll go find a new job. And then they find out 2 weeks later, actually, no, come back to work, please. I'm like that's got to be so awkward to try and reel everybody back in after they've already left.
Or just hire new people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Long live the Earl Grey lemonade. That's all I have to say. That stuff.
Their Thanksgiving sandwich is the greatest sandwich on the face of the planet.
I've never actually eaten at Earl of Sandwich, but I go to Earl of Sandwich every time I'm in Walt Disney World to get an Earl Grey lemonade.
The sandwiches are very good. I like them. And I am happy that they are getting it back. It just seems to me that they're not interested in working out a deal. That they're just going to dig in until somebody crumbles. And at this point, I don't know who it's going to be. I really don't know. It seems that the city's emboldened. They believe that they can take on Disney. Disney's, Disney. They're the biggest media company on the planet. They have they have seemingly infinite resources, and they employ a significant portion of the town. So I don't know where this is going to end. I'm just more concerned for what this means for future projects. But I am happy because I do like Earl of Sandwich.
Agreed. All right, folks, and that's going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you all for joining us. If you are watching this show on YouTube and you would like to get this in an audio form to listen to on the go, we do have a podcast version of the show. Go search ParksCenter in your app of choice, and you should be able to find us. If you're listening to the show and you want something a bit more visual, we do have this on YouTube at youtube.com/WDWNT. We also record live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. If you are watching us live and you are a WIGS member, you will have access to our live post show where we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stories that we just did not have time to cover tonight, including some updates to the universe of energy.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we're giving out Ziploc bags finally over at Splash Mountain and a whole bunch of other stuff. We'll be chatting with you folks the whole time. If you are not a WIGS member and you would like to be, I highly recommend you head over to patreon.com/WDWNT and join today. For as little as $2 a month, you can get access to our post show. You can get access to See a Real Late with Tom Corliss, our parody of a late night talk show that we do at least once a month, and a whole bunch of other wonderful benefits. So I highly recommend you check that out. Again, patreon.com/WDWNT. That's going to do it for tonight's show. Real quick before I go, if you want more WDWNT on the go, we have released WDWNT the app, where you can see the latest headlines from WDW News Today and check them out on the go. You can get access to WDWN Tunes, our live streaming audio that you may or may not be using right now, as well as access to WDWNT Now, our app to give you attraction wait times, park hours, and menus for many of the venues inside of the park. So I highly recommend you go check that out if you haven't yet. All right, for real this time. That's going to do it for tonight. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.